Just make sure this is on, and we're good. Hey guys, how's it going? It's the Crypto Analyst here. I hope all of you guys are having a good morning, evening, wherever you guys are from, and welcome back to the Crypto Analyst live stream. Now, this is something that we do indeed do every single week on Sunday night. Let me just go ahead and make sure everything is indeed working. And we are live. Perfect. So yeah, as I was saying, this is actually something that we do every week at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. We go over technical analysis and talk about what's happening in cryptocurrency every Sunday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Now, we did another one earlier this week because I missed last Sunday, but I was able to make up for that, thank God. So moving forward over here, guys, I want to let everybody have a chance to join. I'm going to go ahead and send out the invite link before moving too far forward here. So let me go ahead and do that, and then we can really get on our way. Welcome to everybody who's just now joining in. Sorry if there's a little bit of an echo. I should have just fixed it. And let me go ahead and post this out to the Discord, and then we can move forward. If you guys are just joining in, go ahead and drop a like and say hi in chat. Let me know where you guys are watching from, and I'm going to get the show on the road. Awesome. Welcome, guys. Just now getting around to chat. Thank you guys for joining. As you guys can see, Bitcoin's quite clearly still in this extreme squeeze that we've had it in. Welcome, Alas. Sorry, I almost called you Alawis. Alas, welcome. Jalen, welcome. Great to have you guys in here. I want to give everyone a chance to join in before we get too in-depth on what's really happening on Bitcoin, before I get too into the meat and potatoes of what's happening over here. So I want to give everyone a chance to join before I go into there. Some of the things that we're going to be taking a look at today are the EMAs on Bitcoin, of course, the price squeeze, and there really isn't too much to cover, so this might be a little bit shorter of a live stream tonight, just because literally like nothing has changed from the last live stream that we did. I mean, it's the exact same situation. Bitcoin's bouncing off support again, and I mean, look at this thing. I mean, it's just crazy. It's a textbook squeeze. So I'm going to talk about, I guess, my levels about either way towards the up and the downside about where I'm expecting Bitcoin to go from here, and then I guess my personal opinion on top of that. Jalen, great to have you in here. Alas, great to have you in here. Greg, Noor, Crypto G, John Smith, Greg, all of you guys, welcome in here. Double Greg from Pennsylvania, from OZ. Where is OZ? Mr. Alas Corp. What's up, guys? Great to have you guys in here. So we're going to give this about one more minute, and then we're going to go ahead and get into the meat and potatoes of this guy and really breaking it down, because this is such a fun squeeze to watch. I mean, whether you guys know technical analysis very deeply or very loosely, it's pretty obvious to see that between these lines over in here, the price of Bitcoin is getting squeezed extremely hard, and we can see just this sideways movement almost of Bitcoin over here, just creating so much anticipation. So it's definitely a very, very exciting time. The Ausland, Australia. Great to have you guys from Australia. I'm actually I'm trying to eventually move to Australia within the next year or two. As cool as that would be. Swartz, great to have you in here. So let's go ahead and talk about this, guys. Let's go ahead and break this down. If you guys are new, this is a live stream that I do every Sunday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, which is about 9 minutes ago from right now. So calculate that to whatever your time zone is. So breaking down what's happening on Bitcoin, let's do our normal recap and then kind of adjust ourselves from there, just like we normally do. So working out on Bitcoin, of course, we have the giant squeeze. Now, I'm sure you guys have seen this, if not on my channel, on someone else's channel. It is, it's pretty obvious. And that was something that I was talking about earlier, is whether you guys know technical analysis very loosely or very strictly, and you guys know it very well. Might need to put my phone on Do Not Disturb just so I don't get blown up during this. And, okay, so let's go ahead and talk about this. So it's very clear that this bottom, there's really two forms of support and one form of resistance. Of course, the resistance being all up top here, just numerous, 1, 2, 3, 4, and now 5 rejection points in here. Very, very strong resistance. Same thing as on support. I mean, we have our first touch point of horizontal support, our second, our third, our fourth, and then it started going up from here. So we had to ask ourselves the question, why Don't forget about me. That would be great to see you around. Yeah, I mean, trust me, man. It's a goal. I'll keep you guys posted on it. Sorry, I'm ADD. What was I saying? I'm interacting with chat and I lose my train of thought. Basically, with our horizontal support, it was pretty cool. But with this breaking, we had to ask ourselves, why was it breaking? What kind of trend line was it following? If this horizontal support was breaking formation, it was actually starting to incline while resistance was still declining. And for that, we kind of had to rewind a little bit all the way back to around May 16th, May 15th, right in the middle of May. We see our first touch point, second and third touch points in here, really more so than that. But if we count this as one swing low, we have our first swing low, our second swing low, our third swing low, and then of course our fifth and sixth over in here. So just numerous amounts of touch points on this rising level of support and this falling level of resistance. About 5 or 6 on each of these guys to really a swing to the upward or the downside, which is pretty significant because it's one thing to have just touch points up in here and to say, oh, well, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, but this is actual like 5 different swing lows or 5 different swing highs and 5 different swing lows. That in itself is telling me that the pressure is definitely building here. And one of the things that I've done to kind of kind of affirm the fact that tension is definitely building is just going to the one-day chart, right? One of the most commonly used charts on every form of technical analysis. Going to that one-day chart and looking at the volume. So if the price is being squeezed over here pretty obviously on the 4-hour chart, I'm going to go to either the 4-hour or the 1-day, and I believe that you can see it a lot better on the 1-day than you can on the 4-hour. And I'm going to go ahead and take a look at the volume, because if the price is getting squeezed, the volume is probably getting squeezed. And if they're both getting squeezed, you know, the volcano is planned to erupt eventually. So over here, I mean, I think it's pretty obvious to see that this volume is falling off, and this volume is getting squeezed on Bitcoin pretty well. And so when this volume is falling off like this, in addition to a squeeze, we can tell that when there are kind of the seasons of the volume falling off, you end up eventually leading to the breakout. Now, I know that's a little bit vague, and I want to kind of go into depth a little bit more on that, but we're going to have to go to the 4-hour to do that. So with Bitcoin getting kind of, and I feel like I've just been reiterating these points like over and over again on the live streams. And that's because, one, they're very important to take into account here, and they're still very applicable. And two, there's just not a ton more of stuff to talk about, right? I mean, these are the key points. Some of you guys have heard me say this before, and I'm sorry if you guys have, but these are the key points and takeaways of what my approach is when looking at this. So when looking at Bitcoin, of course, the squeeze happening on the volume, the squeeze happening on the price action. If you go to things like the MACD, let's go ahead and take a look at that on the 1-day. A very clear squeeze on the MACD. I mean, this is a concept that we've been looking at for a while now. This double bearish divergence working into potential triple bullish divergence. And indeed, this is the sketch and this is the idea. And it looks like it could very well play out over here as the MACD is starting to round towards the upside of Bitcoin. Now, it isn't in the most ideal of zones, but it's definitely still in one that makes this really still a possible theory and something that I am kind of going out on a limb about, and I have been for a while now. So looking at potentially triple bullish divergence on the MACD of the 1-day, and of course we can't forget the 3-day RSI and this bounce point. Once this guy starts pointing upwards from here, again, we've talked about just how cool and how consistent of a bounce point that this has been up here in this zone, the RSI coming up here, touching and then rejecting, and then coming down into this zone and bouncing, especially over in here. And then we can theorize that if history wants to repeat itself, it can start bouncing off this zone again over in here. Now, it did break this over here, so nothing is certain. I mean, this is technical analysis. Nothing's just guaranteed. But, this was a very respected area over here of support, a very respected area of resistance. And so we can see that the resistance is still being respected as long as, this isn't just some crazy coincidence. So my theory is that history might repeat itself, and going off some historical analysis that, this could still be a level of support from the relative strength index on the 3-day time scale of Bitcoin. That's the wrong time. There we go. So moving over to, I guess, the 4-hour RSI, one of the things that I'm kind of looking at over here is this is definitely starting to look like it's leaning more bullish than it is bearish to me. This guy's coming down over here into these oversold territories. I think at this point it's much more inclined to go up, just from someone who uses the RSI a lot. Again, nothing's certain, but from looking at this perspective, it just kind of looks like it's starting to bottom out over here. Again, the RSI, while it's not always this way, it's usually a pretty methodical, I don't know, system. It's just very methodical. It goes overbought, typically goes oversold. Sometimes if you want to look for divergences on here, you'll see lower swing highs in the overbought and the oversold territories, which is something that we've talked about a lot over here. So what do I mean by that? Well, this is oversold, very, very low peak point, probably a bottoming point because of just how low this is on the 4-hour time scale. What I'm looking at over here is a higher swing low on the 4-hour time scale of the RSI. This is something I teach in my TA course. So you guys are getting a little sneak peek of it for free. So this is a lower swing high on the RSI, showing me that there's lower levels of negative momentum coming in upon a swing low on the 4-hour relative strength index. This is telling me that the bears are getting consistently weaker upon their attempt to swing this towards the downside, and this is being a confirmed weaker show in sign of the bears because of the fact that this is again a lower swing high on the RSI, or a higher swing low rather. Sorry, I flipped that. So again, the bears attempted to go to the downside again, definitely showing that they are weaker this time around because they only got to 26 instead of going all the way to 13. This is to me saying, okay, this is potential double bullish divergence. Of course, it played out absolutely beautifully. Same area is kind of getting over here. This one's not in the oversold, so I don't want to really call it double bullish divergence or anything like that. But I certainly think that situations like this can be more inclined to go towards the upside because of what we looked at on the 3-day as well. But just because of the kind of the position that this guy is getting suppressed down in here, it's not impossible, but I think that it is more inclined to go to the upside than it is to the downside right now. Still sitting in an incredibly neutral zone, so again, anything is possible. I am leaning bullish on this because of a lot of the other factors that we've talked about between the MACD and stuff. Double bullish divergence on the 4-hour MACD, very weak, but it's still there. And I think potentially one of the most bearish things that you have over here is really two things. One, the failed golden cross and the rejections of the EMAs on the 4-hour time scale. And I'll get around the comments in just 1 second. So sorry guys if you guys are asking questions and stuff. If you guys are wanting the bullish side, we'll get more into that in a second. But I want to kind of mention some of the bears because I like to look at both sides of this in every aspect when doing any kind of technical analysis, just to keep it a little bit unbiased. You have to have the yin to every yang. So what are the bearish aspects of this? Well, I think that one, you have to be aware that this was a death cross over here, really. I mean, something that was a very big highlight point, hence why I have a circle on it. This ended up happening, death cross, and ever since then, Bitcoin kind of started leveling out, but it's still been going consistently downwards. So once this death cross, I guess this one, there was another one over here, but ever since this one happened, Bitcoin has been looking to reverse this with a golden cross. Again, it death crossed over here, price came down very drastically. Golden crossed over here, price went up very drastically. Death cross, price has been going down, and now we're looking for that golden cross. The fact that the golden cross is actually not happening in here, I mean, look at how close this got. Big old fake out, thinking that a golden cross was going to happen on the 4-hour chart, ended up not happening, rejected that golden cross, came up, rejected it again, and now this price is starting to head downwards. That to me would be a little bit of a warning sign, and despite all this bullish divergence and stuff, you can't ignore the signs like this. In addition to this, the EMAs are being used as resistance for the most part over here, especially recently. I mean, you see the prices all in this area. Candles are closing below the EMAs. Most, like 99% of these candles are not closing above these EMAs, which is telling me that this is resistance. I mean, pretty clearly. I mean, if it being this close to resistance isn't enough, I mean, the EMAs should be telling you that there's definitely resistance in here. And the vice versa for the support, but these things are a little bit more bearish and warning signs for me, especially the failed golden cross. Not something I like to see if I am a bull. The second one is this potentially giant descending triangle that we've talked about over here being still somewhat applicable on Bitcoin only if support breaks. So if we break this support, delete it, it's gone, we fall through here. You're right back in with this descending triangle theory, right? Touch point, touch point, touch point, touch point. Eventually, probably what this would mean if it breaks support here is that it's actually going to break support down here. So if it breaks, where are we at? If it breaks support at around this support line very roughly saying like $9,900, breaks this guy, probably coming back down to like $9,200. If it comes back down in here, that's going to pretty much be the end of this descending triangle, in my opinion. It'll probably break this guy. So then we can say, all right, broke support, probably going to fall. I mean, a descending triangle, for those of you guys who don't know, it's a bearish formation and continuation pattern. Ends up breaking that, ideally expecting the range to come back down into the lower half of the 6,000s. Sorry, I know I'm neglecting chat. I'll get to chat in 1 second, guys. And that's kind of just my idea of what I believe is going to happen on Bitcoin. Now, if it can hold support, which we're hoping for, there's definitely a very, very strong argument for both sides here. This would really be phenomenal. For the most part, it's holding the 382 fib retracement over here. I mean, we can see that the majority of the candle closings, especially since like August, have been above this area. You had a brief come down, bounced right back up here, but this relative area of around 9,700 to 800 had been all closing above. Again, you have a wick here and a wick here and another wick here with this one that was very quickly bought up over in here. But again, potentially looking very bullish. And I think one of the biggest things for me that this wants to at least break towards the upside is this move right here. I think this says a lot more than most people are giving it credit for. The fact that this actually, this was support. So let's talk about that, right? The 382 was support over here. I mean, you see these candles and these wicks bouncing off of this price area. The fact that it was rejecting and then came back down, then bounced up in a bear flag formation. Again, breakdown, sloping channel upwards, classic bear flag, break, hook, and go. So it broke, it came up, retested former support right here. I mean, we can see it. So it broke down, retested this former support area, rejected it with these wicks very clearly. There we go. And then instead of rejecting, being the break, hook, and go and continuing, it actually just got bought back up with a ton of buying pressure. I mean, you have like 3 or 4 4-hour candles, and this guy's back to where it was, if not higher than when it actually broke down, about a pretty nice jump up. So for me, that's saying a lot. And then now that area is still being used as support. I mean, we can see pretty clearly over here. So yeah, just lots of intricate details, whether you're a swing trader, day trader, lots of things that you want to look at. Let me go ahead and read through some comments right now because I know I have been just neglecting them. Hi, Brendan. What's up, John? Great to have you. Greg Pearl, great to have you in here. Looking forward to Bakkt tomorrow. That is tomorrow, isn't it? I haven't really been paying attention to much Bakkt news. Alas is from Australia. Greetings from Australia. Dayton, Ohio, the Aussie land, more Australia. I want to say this like Lavras BR. I'm not sure where that is, but welcome. Don't forget about me. I won't. That would be great to see you around. Yeah, I mean, I really want to head over to Australia. I'm going to be honest. I want to move there within the next year or two. Or not move there, but, rent out for probably a year or two. Rent somewhere out maybe by like the Melbourne or Sydney or I don't know. I haven't really decided. I'm thinking Melbourne, somewhere in that area. But who knows? Lay off the Mary Jane. Cheers for that. Sunday at midnight, UTC for live streams. Yep. Yes, sir. RS Chris, welcome. Great to have you in here. Hopefully we'll see some more volume later this week. Yeah, and again, I'll get into a theory here in a second about that. So wait for the drop and a pop. Says Cal Capone. Yeah, Jalen's right. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button if you guys are new or just want to hit the like and support the channel. Greetings from Palm Springs, California. Sounds like a beautiful area. There's a job and a place for you in Oz. We'll see. I sure hope so. Could we take a look at ZRX after your... Yes, sir, we absolutely can. What's your opinion on the Bakkt launch happening tomorrow, U.S. time zone? Bullish or bearish for BTC? Bullish. Bitcoin Cash is where the largest gain will be. So why is Bitcoin Cash the largest gain to come? It's my question. Melbourne is nice, but it can be very cold. Really? I guess it can be, yeah. I'm still trying to decide. I'm going to be honest. I got to do some more research. You got to tell me your favorite areas. I like to surf and enjoy the beach and stuff. I do like a lot of water sports, but But sure, let me know. Anyway, sidetracked. Let's go back to this right in here. What was I talking about? Oh yeah, so Bakkt. Let's explain that. So with Bakkt launching, supposed to launch tomorrow. Hopefully it will. Is this all kind of in coordination to Bakkt launching? Because it's very anticipated, obviously very big backing, and people and organizations behind Bakkt. So is this a coincidence that this absolutely large squeeze in price and in volume and in strength is all happening at the same time of there about to be a major release? We've seen stuff like this happen before. Very big news or something is going to happen about Bitcoin. The price starts getting squeezed. Everything else starts getting squeezed. Pressure is building up. The news releases and, boom or boom. I mean, this isn't the first time that we've seen stuff like this. So here's the deal. In my opinion, I think the price could potentially be getting artificially suppressed within this zone so that when the news happens, the squeeze that we've been seeing is meant for the Bakkt news. Now, for a long time, I've said I don't think Bakkt is going to be this just monumental force that's going to move Bitcoin from $10,000 to $20,000 in a day. And I still believe that. I would love to be wrong, and I'd love to have Bitcoin hit $20,000 tomorrow, but I just don't think that it's very probable. I think the power behind Bakkt comes over time rather than a sudden burst. I mean, if you want sudden burst, you need like quick news of approval from regulations and government. If you want very strong growth over time, it's something like Bakkt. Now, the reason that I think this is because when investing and profitability and trading on Bitcoin starts gaining a good reputation from established parties like the NASDAQ and the New York Stock Exchange and these guys that are behind Bakkt, these are the guys that are going to be promoting it. I think that this promoting it and this trust factor of Bitcoin through an established, I guess, like an established background, I guess, companies that have an established background, that's where the strength's going to be, because over time our people are going to learn to hopefully trust Bitcoin, and then more and more people are going to invest in it and trade it using Bakkt than they would otherwise. So I think that the scalability for Bitcoin grows exponentially over time rather than over a very short period of just this quick explosion from 10 to 20K. And I think that it provides more scalability of Bitcoin to go from like 10 to 50K over like 5 to 10 years than Bitcoin to go from like 10 to 20K in like a week. And so hopefully that makes sense just because of the way that the system is built. And I think that it would be better for scalability rather than, for this explosion in price. But of course, with something that big, it's very possible that you do have a small, I say small in theory, still a decent sized move in either direction here, just because it's still very, very big news. So I'm still leaning towards the upside here. It'll be it's very, very kind of coin tossy at this point, but I'm still leaning bullish and I'll sit on that. I'm not on a trade, but this is definitely something where I am, for whatever reason, bullish in this area. There's definitely a good argument for both sides, but I'm leaning towards a price breakout to the upside over here, and we'll see if it happens or not. Bitcoin Cash is the new backbone of Ethereum. Correct me if I'm wrong, but they're on completely different blockchains, so I don't know how it can be the backbone of Ethereum. Very good point, B. I'll agree. It'll come slow and steady while the big institutions are buying it up as much as possible. But I could see Bakkt could lead BTC. Oh, I completely agree. And that's what I was getting to around the end of this, is that while I don't think it's going to be like 10 to 20 or 10 to 30K, I think that it could certainly, $1,000 to $3,000 in either direction over here. Hopefully it goes well, and I would imagine it goes to the upside. Why wouldn't it? It would essentially just be leading more buyers into Bitcoin because people would be buying from the Bakkt exchange or investing through the Bakkt exchange, stuff like that. So I certainly think you're 100% right. 11, 12K, very, very possible. Not even in my opinion, not even in the slightest, I don't know what the word would be. Like a liberal guess. There's conservative guesses of it being it'll only get the 10.2K. Very, very reasonable, I guess is a better word for it. Very, very reasonable estimations could be 11 or 12K. At Claire Taylor, you are thinking that Ethereum might use the blockchain for Bitcoin Cash and block size to scale Ethereum better, but Ethereum is moving POS within months. Wow, you are a hack. Jalen, how dare you be a hack? Moving forwards, I guess we can, I mean, speaking of Ethereum and Bitcoin Cash, we can look at both of those guys. I mean, I know that there's very hard Bitcoin elitists, and I know that there's very hard Bitcoin Cash elitists on this channel. And I've talked to both of them. Blame me. You must, obviously, if you don't like Bitcoin Cash, you must be a hack. I don't know what a hack is, but obviously, I don't know. There's extremists on both sides. I don't want to like make anyone sound bad, but you know, people can agree and disagree. I'm not the biggest fan of Bitcoin Cash. I'm gonna be honest. Don't hate it, but not. I do not own any, and I never plan to. Moving forward, let's look at the 1 week and the 1 month, because that's something that we haven't looked at in a while, especially with the. Actually, take a look at this guy. About $8,000 50 EMA, about a 4.5K 200 EMA on the weekly time scale. Look at this. This is pretty cool. The weekly MACD forming this double bearish divergence, potentially leading into triple bullish divergence. Assuming that it rounds off here and this starts heading towards the upside, there is a lot of potential. A lot of potential. Oscillators are still pretty extended to the upside, so we're going to have to see a very, very still extended to the upside. Maybe looking for a lower swing high or something like that. But not looking too shabby. I think as long as this RSI on the weekly starts turning around or leveling out in here, you could definitely be looking at a pretty bullish situation for Bitcoin. On the RSI, very, very neutral, coming down, could be due for a bounce. Looks like it is going to actually set one of its first higher lows. Not really on a swing or anything like that, but just its first initial higher low since this fall of around May. And this is just that same level of what we talked about on the 3-day. Moving over to a monthly. Yeah, I mean, I don't see any reason why this can't. That doesn't look good. RSI looks a whole lot better than the MACD here. MACD here is screaming double bearish divergence on the monthly time scale. Now, we'll have to see how this plays out, because your RSI is kind of saying, well, I guess you could argue for the bears here. I think there's still a better argument for the bulls. But these are very contradicting readings. I would also go with what the RSI says over what the MACD says, because I think it's a more reliable indicator. And we are, what are we? Probably red for the month. No, we're actually green for the month. Really? Well in the green for the month. All right. Fair enough. I mean, I guess right now we're just kind of going sideways. So moving back to the 4-hour time scale, I'll zoom this out and read through some comments. No matter what happens this week, I'm holding. I mean, I'm in the same boat as you, Time, Mr. Time Hawk. I'm not selling my Bitcoin. I mean, unless it hits 100K this week, or 50K or something crazy, I mean, I'm not selling, and I don't think that's going to happen. But I started off in crypto and Bitcoin Cash. You are my savior, convincing me to move it to BTC. Cheers, buddy. Hopefully that saved you. I mean, I'm not a financial advisor, and I can't tell you what to do with your money, but hopefully that saved you a lot of money, because if we look at Bitcoin Cash, I mean, where do we zoom out? I mean, yikes. So hopefully you were able to save some money from that, because yeah, Bitcoin Cash, where Bitcoin doesn't look, clearly as, or doesn't look nearly as bad. Yeah, I mean that looks a lot better. So I love that I was able to help, but I am not a legal, financial, or tax advice or advisor in any way. Speaking of Ethereum, we can take a look at Ethereum because it's had a very... Actually, let's go ahead and take a look at it now. It's had a beautiful chart as of recently. Oh, I don't know why I just typed in BTC. Moving to this guy on the 4-hour chart. Look at this. This is a beauty. So we've talked about this for the past 2 or 3 times about the support lines, falling wedge, breakout, bear trap, and now this is a beautiful scenario for Ethereum if you're a bull. If you're a bear, not so much. The fact that it was actually able to break back up into this range and into this zone, and now using essentially former resistance as support, and it's bouncing and using the EMAs, more specifically the 50 EMA as support. Can we actually... I mean, yeah, this is really good for Ethereum, in my opinion. So I say that, and I'm probably will just eat my words, but let me explain why I think that this is a really good situation for Ethereum. Besides all the stuff that we've covered, if you guys want to get the recap of the green line and everything else, and the falling wedge, and the significance of this bear trap, go back to the last live stream or the one before that, and I talked about Ethereum very in depth. But I want to focus on some new information moving forward here. What was I going to say? So with this blue line being kind of the primary support that we've had in here, again, very clear that it was bouncing off this blue line over in here, broke below it and started using it as resistance, came up, pierced through it again, came back up, retested this guy actually twice in here, both shot as resistance. So former support turned into resistance, broke back above it over here, retested right here. You have a wick through being a piercing candle, candle body close above, going to be turned back into support. So former support, turned resistance, back into support over here. Came back down on this most recent attempt, bounced off the 50 EMA, and also just so happens to be this exact same area that we've seen in the past. So the support line is, this trend line, I guess it's more of a trend line now than a support line. This trend line is, continuing to being used, as well as the 50 EMA. So the fact that it's actually able to close over this, and I think that this is also a very significant range, because again, over here you see the rejection wick, and then you see this being a level of support, all really kind of in this area. So the fact that you're starting to use this area as support again could be a potentially very good thing. You could also be painting out some sort of bottoming formation. Now, what is the ideal bottoming formation that we would be looking for in here based off of what I see right now? I'll actually let you guys guess on this. So you guys write it in chat what you guys think formation that I'm kind of leading towards. So what do I think that this could be, or what kind of bottoming formation do I think could be forming in here? I'll let you guys comment in chat. I'll give you guys about a minute or so, and I'll read through chat in the meantime. I started off, oh yeah, I think I read that. Jalen, I'll sell a small portion if it goes to a new all-time high. Yeah, I mean, I'd probably do that as well. I mean, if it hits that in the next week, yeah, I mean, I'll be playing it by ear, but I'll probably start selling some more. You got me in profits, yes, but I'm all tied up in DFS, Maya, and Mapper. I mean, me and you both, brother. I'm actually doing a video on them and honestly, within, I think, the next 2 days, 2-3 days, I have a video coming out on them. I got to make the video still, but I'm waiting for UK Financial to get me some information, and I don't even know what the information is going to be, but apparently it's supposed to be like really good news or something like that. Sorry, guys, I got to stay hydrated. Where do you see the price of BTC before the halving? That's next summer, right? I don't know. Honestly, I mean, that's about a year away. Well, it's like 9 months away. I feel like to be honest, like I really don't know. it's at such a pivotal point right now where if it can continue upwards and continue this path right now, it's going for a new all-time high. If it doesn't, it's in a pretty rough situation, because let's talk about this. So for Bitcoin right now, wait, this is Ethereum. Okay, that would explain it. So for Bitcoin right now, this looks so bad because of all my drawings. Basically, it's kind of at a pivotal point, right? It's tied up in here. If it wants to continue this path towards the upside, I think it's going for a new all-time high. If it doesn't, you start having a pretty bad downwards trend line, and let's go ahead and explain that a little bit. So like you have this, and then you'd have like, I don't know, like something like this. I mean, that's a pretty clean falling channel. It would be almost, I mean, okay. It would be theoretically impossible to touch the bottom of this channel again. You can't have the price of something go negative, not like Bitcoin. So what it might be better to do is to delete these, draw in, where is it? Where is it? I lost it. No. There it is. Hit this guy, and then this guy. So here we get our falling parallel channel with the heart line. Makes it a lot more clean. You can't really argue that it's going to retest the bottom of the support, because if you were to go straight down from here and test the bottom of support, it'd still be about negative $500. So it's numerically impossible for it to touch the bottom of this channel ever again. What's very possible, though, again, very according to the channel that we're in right now, is that it can touch the heart line again, right? Because the heart line is going right on this channel. So what if we just move this arrow on so the bottom of support is touching the heart line as well? That's where things start getting a little bit different. So the macro of Bitcoin, if it rejects up in here, not ideal, because you'd be setting a rough situation. I mean, Bitcoin would probably be going back down to the 5,000s, which isn't something that people want to see. And I think that if it gets back down there, it'll be rough. There's not much support below that. But if it continues and breaks out here, again, a new all-time high in my opinion. So at the halving, I mean, the honest and clear answer, as much as I'd love to just throw out a number, I mean, it would probably be so far off. I mean, to the upside, a year from now, if it breaks out of here, 20,000, and then break out at the halving. To the downside, 6,000, 5,000. So hopefully that answers your question, John. Jalen, in my opinion, BTC could only go higher, having it about 8 months from now. Ethereum moves with the alts for sure. Back earlier this week, the small alt rally boosted Ethereum up a bit. I agree. Jalen, indeed, there's always been a positive BTC price. Bobby says, huge squeeze. I forgot to change my... I forgot to change the title of this video. I'll do that in a second. Huge squeeze, when and where? Let's go ahead and show you Mr. Bobby Crypto. Not Crypto Bobby. I'd love to do a collab with that guy. It's a cool guy. So, big old squeeze on... Let's go ahead and get rid of this guy. Huge squeeze, which is going to be really this. So pretty clearly over in here, you can see that the price action of BTC bouncing off here, bouncing off here. Price is getting very squeezed within here. I mean, this is a big old pennant. We can go ahead and delete this guy and this guy if you want to see it even better, and this guy. But you can see that the price is getting squeezed pretty well up in here. And at this point, I mean, it's just ricocheting in this zone. So that is the squeeze. The squeeze is imminent, and that is where it is. So that's the when and where. Definitely a situation, which is why we're trying to cover it over here. Potential big prices moves apparently on Friday. For those three. On Friday, yes. Apparently there's, I've heard the same thing. Potentially extremely large price moves sometime within the next 7 days. So I'm excited. We'll see. I think that's the biggest thing, Chris, is, we'll see. I hope so. I sure hope so. Because me and you both. Based upon the charts, how much longer are we going to keep going sideways? Well, the absolute longest that we could go sideways till is the end of this month. So about a week. Any later than that, I think it can only go sideways for another week. I don't see it. It should break out imminently. So we'll see. I say give it 48 hours. It's just so far in this formation. It's farther than it normally is, that's for sure. Based upon the charts, how much... Okay, I think I already answered that. Short look at ZRX. Absolutely. Let's go take a look. Do you want ZRX to the BTC, I assume? Or to the USD? I need to look at this on Binance, actually. Whew. USD, my bad. ZRX. Oh my gosh. ZRX USD. Let's do Bitfinex. I don't like looking at Bitfinex, but they have a very good historical. Look at this. It's an absolute rip. So potentially, yes. Potentially. So there's two areas that one would want to be accustomed with and familiar with in this area. The bottoming out over in here. And the bottoming out over in like this area. So over in these areas, relatively speaking, like around anywhere in here, this is going to be resistance. Former support, turn resistance. You see the rejection wicks. You see the bounces off here. Right? Bounce, 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 bounce. The breakdown started happening. Rejection and rejection. Came back up. Still rejection over in here. What was support is now turned resistance, and it's staying resistance. Now, if it breaks this, it definitely turns bullish up until, I would say easily from 26 cents to 28.5 cents. Because you have this guy, and then you have these guys. You kind of have this whole area of around 30, just below 30 cents. Right? Because you have this. But, sorry, I'm rambling a little bit. If it breaks this area of around 26 cents, this would be my ideal next price targets of potentially shorting. The fact that it rejected in here definitely tells me that it could potentially come back down to at least 22 cents in my opinion. Why? Because of over in here. So it ended up what we thought was going to be really kind of the all-time bottom for this guy, ended up falling through that support range over in here, broke it. So it could be looking for a retest of around the 22 cent range, which is still about a cent and a half towards the downside of TRX or ZRX. Volume is also falling off on the 4-hour chart. So something I'm looking at is that the volume is starting to slow down. Potentially looking for a bull flag in here. So maybe what this does is that it wants to bull flag its way down here or something like that. It's a really bad bull flag. Maybe that's through a pennant. Maybe that's through a falling channel. Potentially looking for a bull flag scenario on ZRX. Ideal short zone was already missed. Doesn't say that it's still not, possible. I think the area for the best area of value on ZRX is already happened, but something that's still very possible and that could work out if this plays out perfectly, because ideal price jump back in would be down in here. If it breaks this guy, support around 20 cents. Below that, I mean, you're probably coming back down to like 17 cents, 17, 18 cents. So, I mean, this will probably move in like one, and probably like between, probably around a 2 cent interval, because that's really where the support is and resistance lie, or about in 2 cent intervals on ZRX, or at least that's what it looks like to be. Awesome. I'm actually caught up on chat. Perfect. That is not what I needed. MACD is actually looking short-term slightly bullish. RSI. So if I was going to look at potentially shorting ZRX, I would be looking for potentially double bearish divergence, right? A lower, what in the world? A lower swing high, probably somewhere like up in this area. I look for this lower swing high and rejection, and then maybe think about getting into it. So something like this or something. I don't know. Something along in this area. I think you know what I'm trying to say, Jalen. Look for the potential, or I would be looking for the potential of a lower swing high on the RSI on the 4-hour chart. If I saw it and the rejection looked, significant enough to catch my eye, I would be looking at the short. But probably not right now for me. We'll see. Sorry, my throat is so dry. Moving back into the Bitcoin, we're going to go ahead and wrap this up here pretty soon, because we covered just about everything that we need to know. I mean, honestly, I don't even know if there's much over here. I guess we can kind of look at Bitcoin and kind of theorize as to where it's going to go over here, but I think the meat and potatoes and the bulk of what we wanted to talk about today has pretty much all been covered. I mean, Bitcoin's in the squeeze. It's happening, and at this point, you kind of just have to give it time to play out. Because you can do as much TA as you want, but at the end of the day, I mean, this squeeze is happening. And the only thing that's going to change that is time. So I try not to stress myself out too much over the charts and just staring at the charts. That's something that I've gotten a lot better at. I don't trade as much Bitcoin as I used to, so maybe that's partially in reason. But I've become a lot better, and I've noticed that I'm better at TA when I'm not just staring at the charts every hour or every 30 minutes or every, honestly, even every day sometimes. Just take a step back, you do your TA, you observe what you need to observe, you make your conclusions and assumptions and hypotheses, and then you move on from there. But, and I think that's kind of one of the things in here. Obviously, I'll be watching this closely in the price action of Bitcoin, checking the prices and stuff. But in squeezes like this, I think some people overstress themselves out because it's not going anywhere. Have you found a good place for derivatives, Brendan? Are you still in the no trade zone for now? Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest with you. I do leverage trading in traditionals a lot right now. And I'm loving it. I really am. I had my largest win. I don't know what you want to call it. Like my largest profit day that I've ever had, and it wasn't in crypto. Before it was in Bitcoin. But yeah, I think it was in Bitcoin. I want to say it was Bitcoin. Anyway, I've been doing a lot of day trading in the futures market for traditionals like oil, ES, NQ, GL, like gold, stuff like that. And I've just been absolutely loving it. I fell in love with it. I think it's more reliable, and there's just more money, I guess. I don't know. It's something that I've just been enjoying more, and it's a whole lot less risky. So I've just been going ham on that. It's not like I don't love crypto. I'm still consistently adding to my crypto portfolio, hence why I'm making these videos, because I'm still very, very intrigued and involved with this field. But as of leverage trading wise, Jalen, I really don't do leverage trading on Bitcoin anymore. I mean, the leverage trading, I got kind of scared out of it because of all the BitMEX news and stuff. and I really wasn't enjoying BitMEX as a platform. I know that there's some good ones out there right now that I might go try here soon, but I am been just extremely busy with highly leveraged trading and day trading traditionals. So for Bitcoin, I'm in a no trade zone. I am, especially right here. I mean, of all places, I'm still in a beautiful swing trade from 3,400. I placed a large order down here at around, where is it? Around 3,500. Placed a large order in this area, and I'm still in that swing trade today. I could have sold off at 14,000. I almost did, but you know, it is what it is. I'm just holding it. We'll see what happens here. Oh, that's the thing, Jalen, is I'm actually I think it's pretty obvious. I don't own any real estate. If I did, it would be like renting properties right now. But real estate market and stock market is not something I want to be in over the next couple of years. I'm going to be honest. I am completely out of stocks. I have literally 0 stocks. I might have like a free stock from like Robinhood or something like that, like really stupid, like $2. But I'm completely out of stocks. All the things that I'm doing within the traditional market are all short-term day trading. I am high leverage trading, and I'm out by 6 o'clock. Yep, I'm out by 6 p.m. Before 6 p.m. I'm honestly out by like 3 p.m. Sorry, no. Yeah, I'm out by 3 p.m. every day. So from, what is it? From 9:30 to 3 p.m., I do my trading. Nothing gets held overnight. I'm just shorting. I'm longing, high leverage stuff. You know, just a typical day trading scenario. No stocks. And I am layering heavily into precious metals. Heavily. And I'm glad you brought that up, because that's something that I've been talking about for a very long time. And I actually made a video on it. Let's go pull it up. Where is this guy? I made a video on it over in here. I think it was no, where is it? Market crash. This is the video that I talked about very deeply. And I kind of talked about how heavily I am layering into precious metals, especially when it's dipping like this. I think yesterday, I want to say it was yesterday, I added to my precious metals portfolio. Why? Because I think it's a whole lot better and safer and smarter than stuff. So not even in gold stocks? No. Not that I have anything against those at all. But I would just rather own physical gold. So I don't think there's anything wrong with those, John Smith. But I think the safest alternative for me, something that I'm totally fine with, is just physical gold. I hope you at least took some profits on that run up. I have, Max. And especially silver. I mean, silver. Don't even get me started on how good that guy looks. Max, you're completely right. 100-ounce bar. Slightly jealous. Not even gold. Okay, sorry. You can buy with BTC. Yeah, I know. You get discounts on most places for buying in cryptocurrencies. XLM to BTC. Let's take a look. Jeez. So let me let you guys know what's running through my head here. Former tops, right over here. Former bottom, there. Came to this area, bounced off it, broke. You can kind of see this transformational period. Came back up, rejection, piercing candle, came back up, rejection. Now what happened in between? Former support, now turn resistance, still resistance. Same concept, just used on a different coin. Former support now turned resistance, and it stayed resistance. Same exact point. Now let's go ahead and draw up our second line. These are kind of just like my thought process in here. Former, wait, no, this isn't what I wanted. I'm sorry, I wanted the bottom of this. I guess we can leave that there, but this is what I was looking at. Or was it this? Oh, I remember what I was going to do. It wasn't the relative, well, yeah, so it was kind of this zone, signifying that if it can hold in here, it's a pretty good thing. Because essentially what you have is this area being your consolidation area before the local bottom, being kind of just as well in here. So if it can come back down into this zone and actually bounce out of here, it would be really good. And so ideally, this would be a potential long zone. Why? It's right at the EMAs, it's right at consolidation support, and it's had a pretty nasty downfall. I mean, eventually, ideally, this is going to bounce, pretty soon. Now, it's not for certain, but like just the way that this looks, again, being at consolidation support, being at the EMAs, no bounce since it's fallen down over here. Ideally, I would think that this guy would like to bounce soon. And if I'm going to go ahead and look at the RSI, I won't even look at them yet. I'll go ahead and make my claim. But based upon the situation and the scenario and the placement of the candles and where they're at right now on the 4-hour time scale, I would say that the indicators on the MACD are setting up for double. Well, actually, no, they won't be setting up for double bullish, but you'll definitely be looking at a potential bottoming area for the MACD. The MACD is going to be rounding right now 100%. It's going to be rounding from the bottom down to the upside, and the RSI is going to be a very low point, but I might even honestly be a higher swing low. So let's go see if my predictions are accurate. MACD rounding towards the upside, pretty obviously. Very cleanly too. Hefty downside over here. Again, no double bullish divergence. There's no reason. There's really just not enough time for there to be in this situation. You might see something like that on a different time frame. On the oscillators, consistently higher swing lows. Pretty clear over here for the most part. Let's check. Right here, and then right here, and then right here, and then right here, even in here. So kind of signaling that there was something coming. I'd be imagining that these oscillators are going to start rounding off since the MACD is starting to curl to the upside. And this guy is actually not where I expected it to be. Still holding, though, this kind of trendy line. Again, there's not really trend lines on the RSI, but, levels of strength. Potentially back down in here. So ideally, and another thing is that there's just no bounce anywhere in here. Back from very, very deep in the overbought to this neutral zone. So I think that it could have potential to go back up into this overbought and set a lower swing high and then come down from there back into this oversold territory. But I think that there is certainly some room for the upside here. Time will tell. It's hard to buy physical gold in big portions. I want to get into it, but it's expensive. It is indeed. Have been buying physical gold and silver for years. Well, then you're an extremely smart guy, in my opinion. Yeah, the chart looks like a crime scene. It really does. It's been. Well, yeah. Hasn't been good. But it needs to hold here, is what it comes down to. It really does. If it does, nice bounce. Whew. Make sure you have your stop loss set. Brendan, where in Australia are you thinking of moving to? Where is QLD? Let me look that up. Queensland. Oh, that's a really nice portion. Where is the equator in proportion to Australia? That's something I want to know. So you guys are, I mean, obviously you guys are below it, but, oh, okay, sorry. Here, I'll let you guys see what I'm looking at. So that's the equator up there. Melbourne's down in here, right? And I think, I want to say Sydney's over here, but I could be very wrong with that. I would love to live somewhere like on the warmer areas of Australia, but, you know. There's a job in a place. What kind of job? I mean, I'm always open to stuff. I've been doing like consulting, and obviously I like a lot of trading. But besides that, I'm actually full-time in school getting a degree. I'm full-time working and I'm full-time in school. Yeah, it needs to break the 900 sat line. Agreed. I mean, it's pretty clear, almost dead on this 900 sat line. Former support turned resistance. So, I mean, if it breaks that, I mean, so let's take a look though. So what if it does break the 900 sat line? I mean, look at this area in here. There's not much. It breaks this 900 sat line. I mean, you got a very little amount of resistance, around 1,000 sats. But other than that, I mean, it could run up to like 1,300 sats. Not much of a problem. I mean, heck, it could run all the way up to like 2,100 sats. Now, there would be more resistance up into that point, but like, certainly could. Look at how big that green volume candle is. I mean, holy moly. That might be the biggest candle in its history. So is this red. I mean, you can see this red volume candle. Holy crap. Almost record levels. Awesome. Thanks for the TA. Absolutely, man. Hope you appreciate it. I said that wrong. Hope you enjoyed it. Hey, what's your thoughts on LTC to BTC? Well, let's take a look, and I'll let you know. This is the wrong chart. LTC, BTC. Excuse me. Sorry guys, it's a little bit late right here. It's been a long day. I have to move this to the 1 day. I like this. This doesn't look like a lot of the altcoins just look the same, and this doesn't, and I really like it. So I'm sure you guys already know what I'm. Same theory of former resistance turns support, vice versa. So I'm looking at a range right in here. So over here, I saw rejections, and then I start seeing support, potentially support. You know, as long as it doesn't reject here, hopefully it can hold above this. I think if it holds above the 50 EMA over here, it's going to start curling to the upside, looking at a potentially golden cross, and I think a swing up to at least, like probably somewhere in this area. What is this at? Like 15,000, 16,000? Don't really see any reason why it couldn't hit that. I mean, for the most part, it looks like a very methodical move cycle if I'm looking at this from a historical aspect, right? I mean, it comes down to this area, it bounces, comes back down to this area, bounces, comes down to this area, bounces, comes down to this area. You know, why can't it bounce, even if it's a lower swing high, right? Even if it's down anywhere in here. Now, is that a good enough reason to just be like, all right, I'm buying in? Probably not. But let's look at some support. I mean, you can't really even draw resistance. You could do something like this, maybe. Could do that. And then you could work also towards a falling wedge over in here. Sorry guys, I'm a little bit focused. do something like this, maybe signifying that this is like a very tight squeezed falling wedge, broke out. Only thing I'd be worried about is possibly a rejection of the 50 EMA. This is on the daily chart. But on the 4-hour chart, it looks like it's actually using support of the 50 and the 200 EMA. Actually just had a golden cross happen on this 4-hour time scale. So honestly, as long as Litecoin holds here, could be in a potentially very bullish, very bullish area. Because if it holds here, I mean, it could certainly turn around. And the upside is definitely there. Golden cross on the 4-hour could lead to a potential golden cross on the 1 day. Golden cross on the 1 day would be perfect. And it's in the area for it to potentially be reversing. So I think as long as it holds here, I mean, it's in a good spot. Because then you have previous top, former top being used as support, kind of the break, hook, and go method. Same thing, right? So right in here, top came up, break, rejected, break out, came back down, hooked on former resistance turn support, the break, hook, and go, and we have the go. So we have the break, the hook, and the go. Potentially. Ideally, really. We're in a falling wedge in the short time frame. Yes, I can kind of see that. I mean, honestly, I wouldn't be too bearish about this. As long as it holds this support. Yeah, I mean, the MACD is rounding up on the 4-hour. It's lower. Yeah, it's so far apart. You can see the lower swing high up in here ever so slightly. It's more of like a double top. It's in a very neutral area. Definitely could be time for a bounce, or for it to just go up from here. Ideally, I'd want to be longing down in here, but not horrible. I mean, it's better than longing up in here for sure. But I see where you're coming from. Yeah, alas, what I mean, I'm always open to like suggestions or opportunities or anything. So Alas Corp, I mean, you can private message me or email me if you want. But I'm always open. I know you said that there's stuff in Australia. I mean, that's the thing is like I don't really know where to start in Australia because it's a whole different country. It's a whole different continent. So that's the biggest thing here. I'm finishing up. I graduate college with a degree that I may or may not ever use in what is it, May? Mid-May? And I'm kind of going to figure myself out. So go from there. Hopefully full-time trading and doing blockchain and cryptocurrency work with companies and stuff. Hopefully doing that full-time between those two. And yeah. I think I am going to go ahead and start wrapping this up. If you guys have any questions, I'll sit around and chill out here, and you guys are welcome to ask those. But for the most part, I am going to be wrapping this up. I'm going to go get some rest. I've had a long day. And, yeah, look at Bitcoin. $9,999 right now. Break that 10K and rip this guy. Australia is a good place to vacation to someday for me. Yeah, I want to go so bad. I want to live in Australia for a bit, and I want to live in Bali for a bit, and that's honestly just two of my life goals right now. Dogecoin. Gonna be a little bit harder to look at. What is this, Bittrex? I'm not going to be able to look at it on here. Maybe Binance? Maybe Poloniex? I don't know, man. I'm not a big fan of Dogecoin personally, but I mean, it's just not really. It's not really following anything that I'm accustomed to. Rounding up. I mean, it's just so neutral. Yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, the only thing I could tell you is maybe wait for your opportunities. But like, right now, there's just nothing happening. Especially because of how low the SAT value is. I didn't think it got this low. Looks like Pundy or something. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what to tell you. I mean, so here's the deal. The only thing that I really can't say about Doge here is that potential golden cross happening. Make sure it's not a bull trap. If the golden cross does happen, I would certainly be inclined to be more bullish about it. I mean, we saw what happened with the death cross, right? Death cross happened here. I mean, this guy's just been going down. So I'd have to ask myself the question and do some more historical analysis. If a golden cross happens here, could it just continue up? That's kind of the and also, is the EMAs being used as support? It looks like they are. It's a very small, I mean, it's a 25 sat coin, so it's kind of hard to see the intricacy of it, which is something I don't like. But honestly, the EMAs would be my best friend in this kind of scenario. Very low volume. So that would be my thoughts. Dogecoin, really. It's so pump and dump. Yeah, it is. It definitely is. I mean, yeah. You could say that. I mean, the fact that it fell below like 35 sats is pretty scary. I mean, look at this. Such a good support area, right? Support, 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 break, rejection, below. I wouldn't want to be in here. I just don't like Doge, I'm going to be honest. I mean, look at this guy. Jeez. Oh, I don't believe in it fundamentally, but I have a small bag right now. I mean, that's fair enough, dude. I can't criticize you for that. I've done the same thing before. Back in the day with like TRX and Verge, and what else was there? TRX and Verge were like some of the most notable ones that I would do that with. Even if I didn't believe in the projects back then, just buying them up because they were just, I mean, you never know when it's just going to rip. I mean, look at it. You never know when it's just going to absolutely rip. So I can't criticize you in any way for doing that because I've done the same thing. I mean, I'm currently doing something like that right now. Here is an obscure current for TNT. Can you take a look? Absolutely. Haven't looked at this guy in a long time. TNT. Will probably be the last coin of the night. It's just extremely sideways. I mean, look at the range. It's one of the things. I mean, just... I mean, it's kind of just range trading in here. One of the things that I do, like, I'll do stuff like this with day trading, especially on like futures contracts and stuff. Just looking at this guy and just saying, like, honestly, just placing short orders up in here and just saying, like, seeing it do this, I'd be like, all right, I'll see this like piercing candle happen or something. I'll see it start heading back down. I'll be like, all right, I'm going short, and then basically just shorting up here and longing down here, and then shorting up here and then longing down here, just trading the range. So it's back down here, pointing up, golden cross. I don't see why it can't go back up towards resistance of like over 600 sats. 600, yeah, over 600 sats. I don't see why it can't. I mean, it's just range trading. Definitely looking short-term bearish. But yeah. Whew. Getting really tired. So hopefully that answers your question a little bit. Basically just watching the range. Excuse me, guys. Watching the range and seeing where it goes from there. If it bounced off support, I would be inclined to believe that it would go up slightly towards resistance. This wouldn't be my ideal entry price. I'd probably wait for a pullback to the EMAs if I was trading this, and enter on the EMAs probably around like this area of like 390 sats or something like that. Not advice, just what I would do if I was trading this. But hopefully you guys did enjoy this. I'm going to go ahead and start rounding this up. I'm very tired, and I'm going to go get some rest. And probably do some portfolio management before I go to sleep. So hopefully you guys did enjoy. If you guys did, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Again, this happens every single Saturday or Sunday night at 8 p.m. Eastern time. I love interacting and talking with you guys. It's definitely a really good experience, and it helps me grow, and hopefully helps you guys able to grow as well. If you guys have any questions or anything, you guys can shoot me an email, shoot me a message on Discord. There's a link to that in the description down below. I need to rename this video because it's the exact same live stream as my last one. And yeah, honestly, I'll probably just go ahead and do that while I'm live. Until next time, yes sir. Thank you so much, John, Jalen, and P4TF. Appreciate you guys all being in here. What do I want to rename the stream to? Crypto Slice of Life, no problem, man. Appreciate you being here. I'm horrible at clickbaiting. That's the thing. This is why I'm bad at YouTube. There we go. Let's do something like that. Awesome. So I'm going to go ahead and end this up, guys, or end this off, guys. I appreciate all of you guys being here. Wow, we went for an hour and 17 minutes. That was longer than I thought. Hour and 18. So I'm going to go ahead and end it off here, guys. Appreciate all of you guys being in here. Again, if you guys have any questions, concerns, anything like that, shoot me an email, shoot me a message on Discord or in the comment section down below, and I'd love to be able to answer that for you guys. So thank you guys so much for watching, and honestly, I'll have a video out here hopefully within a couple days, and we'll move it from there. So hopefully I'll see you guys all very, very soon.